Welcome to Veracity AI Talks, where we explore the transformative potential and challenges related to artificial intelligence. I'm your host, Erik Tjønneland, and today we'll be addressing a critical issue: security in the age of large language models. As LLMs like GPT, Claude, and others continue to revolutionize industries, they also introduce challenges that can have far-reaching consequences. From model theft to adversarial attacks, we'll uncover the risks that organizations need to be aware of in order to ensure safe use of these technologies. Joining me today is Thomas Bassetto, an AI expert here at Veracity, and also a D&V Security Champion Black Belt. Together we'll discuss the vulnerabilities and how to mitigate them. Welcome, Thomas, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Erik. I'm glad to be here.
Thomas, let's start by understanding the broader landscape. As LLMs evolve, what do you see as the most pressing security risks that organizations face today?
So I see several risks, including prompt injection attacks, model theft, or data poisoning, for instance. They can create data breaches, loss of trust, but they are not exactly at the same level. For instance, every companies are using LLMs and AI are at risk of prompt injection attacks, while the two others I have in mind are mostly for companies building their own LLMs from scratch or doing some fine-tuning.
So prompt injection attacks seems to be a recurring concern. Could you briefly explain how they work and why they're so challenging to prevent?
Sure. So prompt injection attacks are happening when an attacker is crafting a specific prompt to trigger some unwanted responses from an LLMs. It can be, at the most basic, some way of formatting the text or writing the text, but it can be more tricky than that. For instance, when creating false or bad PDF files, bad images, and not every time the prompt will be, the prompt injection actually won't be visible by the human eyes. Like specifically in images, it can be deep inside.
In addition to prompt injection, you also highlight vulnerabilities like model theft and data poisoning. Could you provide some examples on how these vulnerabilities can manifest themselves in real-world scenarios?
The thing is, until recently, I didn't consider model theft to be very high on the list of risks for LLMs because we are talking about stealing like gigabytes of data, which could happen, but is quite hard to do. But the thing with LLMs, which is very unique, is that I learned recently about model extraction, which is quite similar. But the idea here is that as an attacker, you will send a lot of prompts crafted a certain way to extract as much data as you want from another LLM. And I've seen that happening between different big players where they accuse each other to steal their core information by doing those specific prompt crafting, and that's what we call model extraction again. So that's one new thing. Then training data poisoning. It matters a lot because it's very costly to do fine-tuning. It's very costly to do an LLM, to create a new LLM from scratch. So you need to be very, very careful about the data you use as an entry point to make sure that you don't have to start again from scratch.
Exactly. And are there any specific industries where these vulnerabilities are especially concerning?
Obviously, all industries should care about this, but I see two specific industries where it matters: healthcare and finance. So from a healthcare point of view, basically no one wants wrong diagnostic or bad advice caused by hallucinations from a large language model, right?
Absolutely.
So that's one thing where it matters. The other in finance is that because a lot of people, they dream in the future to have LLMs do banking and maybe transactions. I was very pleased to see 1 month ago one startup in the finance industry investing time to create a security challenge where they made a chatbot that could actually transfer money, and they asked people to craft prompts to convince the chatbot to send them money. And the way they did it was very smart because you had to pay a fee to actually send your prompt as a test. So not everyone could do it, right? And well, as expected, someone finally managed to crack the code or crack the LLM and managed to transfer to themselves $50,000.
Wow. Very interesting. So given these risks, what measures should organizations take to safeguard their LLM deployments?
It's actually not that different from usual cybersecurity outside LLMs. What you need is robust access control, you need a monitoring system, you need security audits. Be careful about the data you ingest and you output. Like a very, very common behavior, basically, from a security company. Then the thing that I find interesting are new risks, like you need to think about like denial of wallet, because it costs a lot of money to run an LLM. One security aspect to protect yourself is to use smaller, more specialized LLMs to check the input and output of your main application, your main LLMs. But all of that has a cost, and someone could spam your system, which would incur a huge bill, basically. So that's another aspect you have to keep in mind. But let me just add one more thing. That
okay, sure.
We've been focusing on technical aspect here. Yeah. But there is one non-technical aspect that's often overlooked. Yeah. It's over-reliance. It talks about like human perception and being maybe too trusting or putting too much trust in the system, right?
Exactly. On that topic, Thomas, on the topic of over-reliance, how can organizations ensure that they strike the right balance between leveraging AI, but also maintaining control?
So the thing here is that I see only one solution, which is education, both for the customers and from the users. So everyone needs to be involved, specifically as a company, to tell people to not put too much faith in the system. But it also means that, for instance, if you have very high stake, it makes sense to have human validation for the output, right? So it's a matter of balancing like the power of the LLM, but also the trust you put in a system. And it's only, from my point of view, through education that we can get rid of that risk.
Very good. Looking forward, do you think we will see technological solutions that can fully mitigate these vulnerabilities, or will this be an ongoing challenge as AI evolves?
No differences with the cybersecurity in general. This is an ongoing battle. People are trying every day to find new attacks, but security researchers are very, very active in finding new mitigations here. So I'm very confident in the smartness of security researchers on finding new ways, but it means that everyone involved has to keep themselves up to date. It's very important. Always pay attention to the new attacks and the new security fixes, but also make sure to discuss with the other industries, maybe to keep everyone at the same level.
Very good. Thank you, Thomas, for sharing such valuable insights. It's clear that while LLMs hold immense potential, understanding and mitigating their risks will be key to safe and sustainable deployment. That's it for today's episode of Veracity AI Talks. Join us next time as we continue to explore the transformative potential of artificial intelligence. I'm Erik Tjønneland. Stay curious and stay secure.